everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I'm here today with episode 14 of the Flea Market Style Traveler's Notebook Make-Along, and we are doing the 12th spread today. So let's pop into the journal and see this 12th spread. So here we have this round image, and we've cut out the top to give it that nice round shape. Here we have a fabric tab at the bottom. This will be our last tab in the journal. And then we have a fabric cluster up here. Okay, so let's set our prototype aside, and I'll grab the journal that we are making together here. So the spread we're making has to go right on in here, okay? So what we're starting with is just a piece of some kind of dyed or interesting paper that you like. This is just an 8.5 by 11 sheet that I've dyed blue, and it's what I call my watery paper. So what I'm going to do to start is to just fold it in half here. And then I'm going to trim the edge, not quite an inch, a little less than an inch off. And I keep these strips and I actually just kind of cut them, and I make like little labels, or I use them as a seat for gluing on a word snippet. Sometimes you need like a backing for word snippets when you add them to collage. So now we have our page. So now I need my round focal point. So there's a few ways that you could do this, okay? If you don't have a round punch, I do. I have this Marvy Cheetah large. This is a big round punch. I think it's like a 2-inch round punch. And you want your circle to be, you know, almost, not quite to the edge. You want like 1/2 inch, maybe 1/4 inch on the sides, so that you can cut this little shape out here. Let me just do that so you can see what the shape looks like. So now you can decide what kind of image you want to put here. It can be anything you like, a botanical, an image of a person, an image of a piece of art, a bird, an animal, what have you. I'm using the pages of this Beatrix Potter book, The Tale of Jeremy Fisher. That's where this came from. So here we go. Here is the page that I'm going to use, and I can choose between which of these I like better. I think I'm going to go with this one because I love this big lily. So I'm just going to trim a bit of the paper from this side. Then pop this here in my punch. Okay, oh, and I was telling you what you could do if you didn't have a punch. You could trace around something like this, around a coffee mug or a candle or anything else that you have that's round in your home. Trace around and cut it out. So this punch is really tough. I'm going to just stand up for a minute. Sorry for that bang, but it's a really tough punch. So then I'm going to pop it out of here. Okay, and then I'm going to ink around the edges. I'm going to use this green Eyes ink just because I think it goes with my kind of frog in a pond sort of theme. But you could also use like any kind of Tim Holtz ink. Okay. So now we are going to glue this down on the page. You're going to leave about 1/2 inch of space on the top, and you're going to center it in the center here. And I'm just going to use my glue stick. Whoops. Okay, so right about there. And please ignore my fingers. I've been cabbage dyeing paper, so they are blue. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is open up my page, and then right down your center fold, you're going to make a cut until you get to about the center of the circle. Right like that. Then make a cut inward and leave about like 1 centimeter around. Then if you wanted to line this up really well. You could with a ruler. I just eyeballed it on the prototype, I'll be honest. And then just make a tiny tear, and then you'll have a perfect line. And again, just go, you want to leave a little border around it. That's why I'm saying don't go all the way to the picture. Then just guide your scissor around your circle, trying to leave an edge that's kind of even. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're having fun here, right? So then remove your piece of paper. And there you go. You have like a little door. So there we are. It's hard to see how fun it is when it's, you know, but when you have paper behind it, it's fun. Okay, so that's it for the first page. That's all we need to do. Now we want to make our fabric tab. So that's easy peasy. I'm just going to find a scrap of fabric here over here in my scraps. I've got this little bit of fabric, so I'll just trim the edge off. Okay. Now what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to be stitching it, but I'm also just going to go over it with the glue stick. And just lay almost half of it on one side. And then fold it on over. You don't have to go all the way to the bottom. You can leave a bit of space. This one I went all the way to the bottom, but this one I left some space. It doesn't matter. This is our last tab in the book, so it's kind of like the last, you know, the bottom tab. So that's down. Now we're going to flip our page here. And we're going to make our fabric cluster, and then I'll explain all of the involved sewing if you're going to do it. If you're not, just use a Fabri-Tac glue or something to be more permanent. So now we want to make our fabric cluster. So this one I added some yarn to. I did this stamping here to just give myself a focal point. So let me grab some scraps out of my scrap fabric bin. I didn't really plan ahead for this part. I could have already selected it, but I thought it's okay. We can just kind of do it together. Hopefully I've got things that I can pull from here. So there's one piece of fabric. And then I'll grab some of this. Maybe as the background. There we go. And then I just kind of lay one like this and one like that and just kind of offset so that you can see, you know, and you could do it if you like this fabric more, do it that way. I think I actually do like that a little more. And if you think it's too big, you don't want to lose as much of that yellow, you know, just trim it off. And you can actually just use both pieces as well. Okay. Then I might add, just for the fun of it, like a little bit of lace. So I've got some lace over here. So maybe I'll add that there. And then we're ready for some kind of a focal point. So I have some butterfly fabric here. I'm just going to look around and see if I have like a nice little, what you're looking for is some kind of a focal point that's like stamp sized. So I've got this little yellow butterfly. That would be nice. Okay, this is a little wrinkly, but I think I probably can just give it a pull and it will unwrinkle a bit. So we're going to lay that right here. And then when we go to the sewing machine, you're going to sew a square around your focal point, like a stamp, basically. That's going to attach everything together and make us ready to attach this to our page. The other thing you're going to do is just stitch down your tab, okay? So I'll go do both of those things and I'll be right back. Okay, we're all stitched on, so I'll just trim my little excess threads a bit here. You could leave those long if you wanted to. I do try to trim some of them though, or else you end up having all these strings everywhere, which can be kind of fun too, honestly. So here's our cluster. So see, this is how I just did a freeform square, so it's kind of like a stamp. And we're going to attach this on here. And to do that, because it's fabric to paper, I'm going to use Fabri-Tac. And I'm actually just going to glue in the stamp, the square, so we don't lose all of that nice stand-up texture of the cluster. You could glue the whole thing down though if you want it to lay very, very, very flat. Okay. So there we go. And if you wanted to add more things to this, you could. You could do a collage here, you could do some stamping, but I'm pretty happy just with the simplicity of this. I think that it's very effective. I try to not like do something on every single page. Okay, so let's see what it looks like inside of our journal that we're making together here. So this one is going right inside our last spread next to our cow. So pop it in here, and there's our cow and our frog. We open it up, there's going to be something else in here, so those pages won't stay together. And then we have these nice fabrics kind of facing one another. So that is how it looks in our journal. And then in the prototype, I'll pop the other one in there so you can see it again. That's kind of fun. So yeah, that is our spread this time. If you're just finding this and you're interested in making along one of these journals, you can still do so. These videos will be here. You can find my playlist. It is called Flea Market Style Traveler's Notebook Make Along, and we begin with the cover, and we're doing a spread every few days. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to subscribe and have a great day. Bye for now.